All right, boys and girls. Today's lesson is continuation of yesterday's lesson. We're going to be working with least common multiples for Module 2, Lesson 2 of our Go Math textbook. And so a least common multiple, what we normally call it is the LCM, and sometimes you might call it the LCD. And that's when we're working with fractions. So we're not going to get there yet with this. We're just learning about least common multiples. So our objective today, our content objective, is students will be able to learn to find and use the least common multiple of two numbers, very similar to the greatest common factor. Our language objective is students will explain how to find and use the LCM of two whole numbers. Now, I'm giving you the definitions already. What is the least common multiple? Now, the least common multiple, and what's in yellow, you are going to write on your paper. Remember, you can pause the video, pause it, write it down, continue, pause it again. The least common multiple of two or more numbers. Now, remember, the key word is more, because tomorrow you're going to get three numbers. Today you're just getting two. The least common multiple of two or more numbers is the least number other than zero. Remember, that's key. Other than zero, that has a multiple of all numbers. And we'll explain what a multiple is. How do I find the least common multiple? It's by listing all the multiples of the number. So now when we did GCF, we did a table like this, and this was GCF. When we do LCM, we are going to do a table that looks like this, and I'll explain. So it's just a little different. What is a multiple? Now let's look at what is a multiple. A multiple of a number is the product, remember, product is the answer to a multiplication problem. A multiple of a number is the product of the number and another number. For example, 9 is a multiple number of the number 3. So which means 3 times 3 equals 9. So 9 is the product of 3 times 3. Okay? Now let's look at our first problem. And it says, Mr. Morales has a busy schedule. If we notice, he does have a busy schedule. He takes his daughters, so he's going to take his daughters to softball practice every 6 days. So every 6th day, 6 days, he has softball practice. But then he also takes his son to karate every 8 days. So every 8 days, his son goes to karate every 8 days. Now, if we go based off of this, at some point, I'm going to have to take my daughter to softball practice, and then I'm going to have to take my son to karate practice. At some point, there's going to be a day where both of them are going to overlap, and I'm going to have to do both. So the way I do it is I created a calendar. This is sort of like a calendar. Created my calendar here, and remember, it says softball practice every 6 days. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through here, and I'm going to circle every 6 days. That day he has softball practice. Softball. And then I'm going to go the next 6 days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He has softball practice again. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Softball practice again. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Softball practice again. Softball practice. Softball practice. Softball practice. Softball practice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Softball practice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Softball practice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Softball. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Softball practice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Softball practice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Softball. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Softball. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Softball. So those are the days that I'm going to have to take my daughters, actually both of them play softball, to softball. Now, I'm going to have to take my son every 8 days to karate. At some point, they are going to connect, and I'm going to have to take both of them. At some point, they are going to connect. So now I'm going to choose a different color. Okay, I'm going to use red. And I'm going to have to take my son to karate every 8 days. So here's karate. So what I'm going to try to find out is when do I have to take him at the same time? Here's the same time. So it's karate every 8 days. Karate every 8 days. Karate. Whoa, we just found something out. On the 24th, he will have to take his girls to softball. And he will also have to take his son to karate. So I found the least common multiple. The least common multiple, it would take 24 days for both to happen. And on that day, Mr. Morales is really tired. He's busy. We can continue going through 24, 32, and then 40, and then 40, 48. We notice right there, there's another day where they both connect. And I'm going to shade that in a different color. So they both connect on this day. They both connect on this day. Let's continue. 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58. So I'd have to take them here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you can see the point as we move through, the problems. Now let me show you an easier method to use. A store is holding a promotion. Every third customer receives a free keychain. So the third customer receives a free keychain. Every fourth customer receives a free magnet. So if you are the fourth one, you get a magnet, and if you're the third one, you get a keychain. Now, instead of doing this whole big table here, I can do a shortcut. I can write my 3 here, and I can write my 4 here. Now, I just created a table. I created the table for you, but what you would normally do is create a table that looks like this. I draw a line up on top, and then you pretty much create the boxes yourself. And then you put 1 on top, 2 here, 3, 4, and then 5, and 6, and 7, and 8. Kind of like what I have up here. So you're going to do all of these. Now, so what I start doing is I start listing them. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 5 is 15. 3 times 6 is 18. 3 times 7 is 21. 3 times 8 is 24. 3 times 9 is 27. And 3 times 10 is 30. Now I start doing the same thing for my 4s. And so I'm going to do them down here in a different color. 4 times 1 is 4. And then down here, 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times 4 is 16. And then we have 20 and 24 and 28 and 32 and 36 and 40. Now what we're looking for are the numbers that they have in common. Do they have a 3 in common? Do they have a 3 in common? Is there a 3 down here? Is there a 3 down here? No. So I'm going to just go back and erase that really quick. Now, do they have a 6 in common? Do I look down here? Do they have a 6? No. Okay, I'm just going to go back. Do they have a 9 in common? Let's see. Do they have a 9 in common? Is there a 9 down here? Nope. You could probably already see what the LC lowest common multiple is going to be. Do they have a 12 in common? So here's my 12. Do they have a 12 in common? Yes, they do. They have a 12 in common. Okay, here's my 12. Do they have any other numbers in common? Well, they do. They have a 24 in common. Okay, so the multiples they have in common are 12 and 24. But what's the lowest common multiple would be the number that's the smallest, and it would be 12. What does this mean? This means that the 12th customer, would actually be able to get a keychain and a magnet. Every 12 customers would get a keychain and a magnet. Now, you're going to see problems that look like this. It says find the LCM of 4 and 9. And so I kind of talked to you about that a little bit ago. What you're going to do is you're going to create a table. You're going to put 4 up here. You're going to put 9 down here. You're going to draw it across. And then you're going to put a 1 on top, and a 2 on top, and a 3 on top, and a 4, and a 5, and a 6, and a 7, and an 8. Sometimes you might not even need to go that far. So let's start solving these problems. So 1 times 4 is 4, 2 times 4 is 8, 3 times 4 is 12, 4 times 4 is 16, 4 times 5 is 20, 24, 28, 32. And then let's look at our 9s. 9 times 1 is 9, 9 times 2 is 18, 9 times 3 is 27, 9 times 4 is 36, 9 times 5 is 45, 9 times 6 is 54, 9 times 7 is 63, 9 times 8 is 72. Let's go ahead and stop and see if there's any numbers that they have in common. So we might need to go further than this. Do they have a 4 in common? I don't think they have a 4 in common. Nope. Do they have an 8 in common? Nope. Do they have a 12 in common? Nope. Do they have a 16 in common? No. 20 in common? Nope. 24 in common? I don't see a 24 down here. 28 in common? There's no 28. 32 in common? There's no 32. So now we have to go one step further, and I didn't leave myself enough room. So they're going to have to go one step further, and I'll try zooming in. And they do have, if I can move this over, so if this was 8, and this would be 32 and 72, this would be 9, and 9 would be 9 times be 81, and up here I would have 36. And so they do have a 36 in common. So it does take us a long time to get there. Now I want to check for your understanding. We're almost done with the lesson. I want to check for your understanding. Every 9th visit to a restaurant, you receive a free beverage. So when you go 9 times, you get a free drink. A beverage is a drink. Free beverage. After every 12th visit, you get a free appetizer. An appetizer is like a small meal, okay? A small little meal that you usually get. So if you go 9 times, you get a free drink. If you go 12 times, you get a free appetizer. And I'm just going to put app. If you visit the restaurant 100 times, if you go 100 times, on which visits will you receive a free beverage, and a free appetizer? Now, if you were to go 100 times, you're going to create a list that looks like the one that I did up here, 100 times. So you're going to create a list that looks like this. So if we did it just a 10 by 10 list, so I'm going to create my list, come across 10 times, 2, 3, so you can continue solving those problems. When you're done, I want you to go ahead and solve all of the independent practice. You can work collaborative. It can be collaborative once the person that you want to work with is also done taking notes. So you can collaborate when they're done taking notes. Now going back to this problem up here, you could also do 9 and 12 and do it all the way till you get to not 100, but you want to do it until both numbers, until this number and this number get past 100. And what I mean by that would be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's see. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. And I would probably go up 12 times. 12 times. And so 9 times 1 is 9. 9 times 2 is 18. 9 times 3 is 27. 9 times 4 is 36. 9 times 5 is 45. You would continue doing that, and then you would see which ones they have in common, and you'd circle them. So this would be 12, this would be 24, this would be 36. For example, they have the 36 in common, okay? If you look at you'll see how this compares to this. So on the 36th day, they both will get an appetizer and a drink for free. Okay, go ahead and continue with your independent practice.